Welcome to the Tuesday Review. I'm James.
I'm Nathan.
And I'm Callum.
And we've got a doozy for you tonight, listeners.
It's going to be a struggle.
Whew. We're reviewing Birds of Prey, a.k.a. Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of one Harley Quinn.
The first question, though, do we have to?
Yeah.
Oh, look. None of us in the studio wanted to see the movie, but I was like, we'll give it a shot. It'll be, it's superheroes.
It's a comic book movie.
Books.
You kind of have to go see it.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's up our alley and we'll make interesting discussion for the show.
Where were we wrong?
Oh, it'll make interesting discussion, but not in the same way I thought it would.
We didn't review this movie on the show, but I prefer The Grudge.
Oh, the new reboot, yeah,
and that
remake,
was a terrible
whatever.
movie.
Yeah. When you said that, it was like halfway through the movie, and we were just like, "Oh, this is so bad," and you were just like, "I prefer The Grudge." I just started laughing. I'm like, "That is like the worst review." At least The Grudge
had some tension.
That's the worst review you can give.
The Grudge was a mess, but it had some tension. This has nothing.
Look, I mean, the problems start with the name itself. Right, it advertises itself as a Birds of Prey movie when it's basically a Harley Quinn standalone film.
Which wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, no, but it's off the bat, it's false advertising.
Yeah. Also, apparently this movie's not doing very well. It's only opening weekend, but still it's not doing well at all.
I wonder why.
Yeah, and people are saying, "Oh, what's the reason?" And one of the things they've done is in some places they've started retitling it Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey, which is probably what they should have done in the first place, because it's a Harley Quinn movie. It has almost nothing to do with the Birds of Prey, which is one of the weaknesses of it. But yeah, I think it's kind of a weird thing where DC movies haven't been very good in general.
With one exception.
Except for Shazam, yeah, really. I mean, anyone who's listened to the show knows, I hate Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Justice League, and Suicide Squad. I hate them with every fiber of my being.
They're all bad movies.
I consider them some of the worst movies ever made and an insult to the comic book characters and the superheroes. Wonder Woman was not bad, but has problems. Aquaman is meh. And Shazam is really the only good one.
Yeah. That's fair.
And
we don't hold that much hope for Shazam too.
Well, and now, and we'll talk about that, because now, so they're doing this Birds of Prey movie, which they've been talking about pretty much for a while, probably since Suicide Squad came out. And even though Suicide Squad was poorly received and is kind of being slightly rebooted with the new James Gunn movie that he's doing, they kept Margot Robbie because everyone likes her and she wants to do the role. And they made this Birds of Prey, which I was not excited about it. I had no feelings one way or another. But I was like, when they announced it was going to be R-rated and it was not going to be connected to Suicide Squad, I was like, that's pretty much the best news.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it is connected to Suicide Squad. There are several references. Not very strong references, but still enough where I was like...
Enough likeness of the Joker to make us a little queasy.
Yeah.
It's not completely divorced, yeah.
Yeah, and also the R rating adds nothing and is used in the... It's kind of tame, but also it's trying to be violent and edgy, but they play it safe a lot of the time. And there's a couple of F-bombs and some blood, and that's it.
Not even good blood.
Yeah, and it's like
crappy CG.
I can't explain it. It's like they were trying to make a kid-friendly film and
a kid-friendly R-rated movie.
Yeah, and I was like, they should.
That's what it is. It's an R-rated movie in quotes.
Yeah.
Designed for 15-year-olds.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's the best way to describe it.
If I had a teenage kid, I'd let them watch this movie because there's nothing particularly objectionable in it. Outside some swears.
It's still targeting their core audience of 12 to 15-year-olds, but it's got some swearing and violence.
Yeah, and the violence isn't that much worse than anything else.
Yeah, honestly, it's not.
It's really just R-rated for the swearing.
Yeah,
and some contorted limbs. Oh, big deal.
Yeah, and the swearing's not that.
Oh, actually, no, there was a face cut off, but even that,
we didn't see it though.
Even that, we only saw it from the most inoffensive angle.
True. Yeah.
Would have been slightly different if we saw the full
flaying. The peeling.
Yeah.
But I think that's the big problem with this movie is it doesn't know what it wants to be. And I was saying to you guys when we saw it, DC needs to pick a lane. they got to figure out what the hell they're doing because they still don't know. I talked about this when Shazam came out. I talked about even when I think Wonder Woman came out. I was like, do they want to be standalone? Do they want to be MCU?
Connected, yeah.
They started off the MCU trying to copy the MCU. That didn't work out for them. So now they're doing standalone stuff. They did Joker, which was very standalone
and very successful. Let's hope they learn the lessons.
But that's what I'm worried about with Birds of Prey is that they still don't know what they're doing.
Well, yeah.
The Joker experiment of an R-rated standalone, more serious superhero movie worked, but I don't think they know what they're doing with their other movies.
Yeah.
And also Joker, it only worked because for that movie. Yeah. You can't make a Birds of Prey movie that's like...
No.
And this is another problem with Birds of Prey, is it's too grounded and it doesn't have all the cool comic booky shit in it that we want.
Well, there's like one moment of cool... superpower
other than
display, and that was saved right to the... Yeah. That was almost like, why didn't we see this before?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I was kind of confused. Like, what are they trying to do here?
Yeah.
Are they trying to make it serious and grounded? Is it supposed to be silly and cartoony and comic booky? It's neither. It's both. It's both, R-rated and,
PG.
Violent, and it's also PG-13 and not offensive at all.
It has action, but is also very, very boring.
It's boring, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Honestly, that's the one thing I like. If I had to sum this movie up to someone who'd never seen it...
boring.
I'll just say boring.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't care. We sat down... I just watched the events go. I felt nothing.
Yeah.
I literally felt nothing.
That's the worst thing about the movie. It's just boring.
It's just incredibly dull.
Yeah.
And I remember we got through about at least halfway, 3/4 of the way through before I realised that one of the henchmen was Victor Zsasz.
Oh, yeah.
And I leaned over is that meant to be Victor Zsasz? They wasted that character.
That was obvious to me from the beginning, but he was such a shitty representation or interpretation of Victor
I didn't pick up on that because I was like, well... to me, it could have been He was just generic. He was just generic henchman, generic goon.
Yeah, the only time I think I realised it was Victor Zsasz when he's like, "I have a cut for everyone. Here's one for space for you,"
which is near the end of the movie.
Yeah, and I'm like,
"Oh no, I knew before that because he flat out says Zsasz."
Oh, he says Zsasz.
I must have been a bit slow. But I'm just like, wait a second.
When you first see him, he's got all the cuts. I'm like, "Oh, that's Victor Zsasz." Like, obviously. But yeah, the way they interpret him in the movie, and that's actually a problem with all the characters in the movie, is unfortunately it doesn't divorce itself from Suicide Squad far enough where it kind of keeps that kind of hot topic, kind of too edgy for me, kind of punk neon, kind of everyone dresses like in the same way.
Yeah.
And it's really try hard and really lame. And I feel like this movie would be much better if Suicide Squad didn't exist. And it's something I've talked about many times on this show, the rotten foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Zack Snyder screwed it up for everyone when he made Man of Steel the way he did. And even as good as Shazam is, the worst parts of it are the fact that you can see some ties to the DC Zack Snyder verse. And the best thing for DC is to completely ignore all those things exist and completely reboot their movies. But
their most successful franchises so far have basically ignored everything else, like Shazam, like Joker.
But I was going to say, the actors are kind of likable and people like them in the roles. So they're obviously keeping Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. They're keeping Jason Momoa as Aquaman. They're keeping Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn.
Which is a mistake.
Which, on one hand, that's understandable, but that's a mistake because now you have to...
You kind of have to stick to that canon.
You carry on to even if you are ignoring those other movies, you are sticking to a certain version of the character.
That's it. An aesthetic.
Yeah, and I think that's DC's biggest weakness. To truly make good films, they have to completely erase. Erase all Zack Snyderverse completely. Ignore it all. Recast the entire DC universe.
Look,
and get someone else to visualize it because the movies look terrible.
These are good. You know what? They're all good actors, but they can't be. They can be replaced with someone else who's equally as good.
And this is why I'm really worried about the Suicide Squad, the new James Gunn reboot. Because at first we were told it's a reboot, it ignores Suicide Squad. Then Birds of Prey comes out and they said that ignores Suicide Squad and it's R-rated. But then it was this kind of version of R-rated, and it didn't ignore Suicide Squad enough, and it had the Rotten Foundation connections that led to, the terrible things in it. And then we've talked about before how they're bringing back certain characters played by the same actors from the original Suicide Squad, and they're not recasting some of the other characters like Deadshot. So it might be a soft reboot, but really it takes place in the same. And as far as I know, Margot Robbie's in the Suicide Squad sequel as well.
So it's going to have the same issues.
So, even with James Gunn, who we all love, it's going to have the same problems. They need to full reboot. Mm-hmm. Cast a new Deadshot.
100%.
Like, don't screw around. You're not going to get Will Smith back. If you are, that's great for you.
Save some money.
But no one's going to like the movie. No one liked the first Suicide Squad because Will Smith was in it. Stop pretending.
Yeah, that's
DC needs to get their shit together, and they need to figure out what they're doing. And this is a problem with this movie, is if they are going to do these standalone movies, that's the best thing they could do, because they trying to copy the MCU, they screwed that up.
It's not going to work for DC.
They didn't lay the groundwork. It took Marvel a while to set that up.
10 years?
Well, I mean, from Iron Man 2008 till the first Avengers 2012, you had Captain America, Thor, Iron Man 2, then you had Avengers, and then you went, more. Yeah. They had a plan. They had a groundwork. Whereas DC was just, you can't make a interconnected universe when you've got someone like Zack Snyder who doesn't like or understand the characters.
I think, I think half the problem with all these DC movies is they're hiring the wrong directors.
Yeah.
And there's no one like our boy Kevin Feige at the top.
I think there's that, but there's also when they hire the individual filmmakers, and this happens with Birds of Prey as well, and we were kind of perplexed and confused about what the hell was going on. The filmmakers individually don't seem to know or like or care much about the characters.
It's a paycheck, yeah.
Even if it's not a paycheck, like I find it very hard to believe. I don't know her, but Kathy Yan, who directed Birds of Prey, I find it hard to believe from seeing the end result that she knew any of the characters from this movie before this movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I can't see her reading a comic book or watching the old cartoons, because the end result
and
is,
I know she didn't write... Obviously, she didn't write the movie, yeah?
Let's see.
Because a lot of also I put a lot of this on the writer, because all the characters are pretty much very two-dimensional.
Oh yeah, there's no development for any of the characters.
I think we've probably talked about this before. I can't remember exactly what episode, but I remember I feel like when they get people to make a Marvel movie, the writers involved in that process are probably closer to the comics than the DC ones would, because we never have this problem with Marvel movies, very rarely.
I think Marvel has a bit of this problem as well, where the writers, we have Kevin Feige, so he's the guiding hand, but the writers generally seem to like and understand the heroes that they're, working with. But then the individual directors don't always seem to get it as much as... But because you've got the guiding hand, because you've got a framework, it's not such a big deal. But then that leads to other problems where things start feeling very samey.
Which is a better problem to have than
exactly.
what we're having with DC.
That's what I was going to say. And that's not such a bad thing. Like, all the problems MCU have, and there's a lot of problems they have, in comparison to DC,
we can overlook it pretty easily.
Especially when, other than a few situations, MCU never really fucks up the characters to a point where it's like really insulting. Whereas DC is just like almost every movie they make is just like a big FU to people who actually like the characters.
So they probably ruined at least 3 characters in this movie alone.
All the characters. I was just like, what the, and... this is why Shazam is such a good movie, is because the character, like Shazam is Shazam from the comic books. Yeah, like Billy is Billy from the comic book.
That's one thing I loved about it, was I like the Shazam characters, and it's so true. Like, I mean true in the sense that it's an accurate depiction.
Yeah.
Whereas you look at, I enjoy the DC comics very much.
Yeah.
You look at the Birds of Prey movie, and you have Harley Quinn, who, Margot Robbie does a good job embodying that character.
Yeah.
But without when it's just her on her own, it doesn't to me seem as authentic as it would be in the wider Joker context.
Yeah, I feel like I like Margot Robbie, and I think she would have been a good choice for Harley Quinn if
the movie was better.
If the first Suicide Squad movie was better.
Yeah.
And I would be happy for her to return to the role in the future if the director she works with likes and understands the character and the character's written well.
Yeah.
But as it stands, she's not being directed and the character's not being written well. And so she's not good as Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
I know that's a hot take, but, you know...
Yeah, well, it was boring.
Yeah, she's boring. Like, she complains and whines the whole movie. She does nothing.
Yeah.
She's not Harley Quinn, the comic book or cartoon character.
The casting wasn't the best, generally, for this film.
Well, see, that's the thing, is the cast ranges from great actors who do terribly because of the material.
Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
No, he does well. He's an exception.
Yeah.
He's an exception.
He does a good job, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, he will get to him later. So you've got there's 3 degrees of actors in Birds of Prey. There's Ewan McGregor, who's above everyone else, who's just...
It was a good performance.
You remember when we watched Last Jedi?
Yeah.
You talked about how the best actor in...
Benicio.
Is Benicio del Toro, because he's just taking the piss.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of like Ewan McGregor, where he just acts very dramatically because he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he cares.
He's definitely going for like a camp kind of...
Yeah, but I just feel like he's like, I'm just going to have some fun with this one, whatever.
He's going for an American Psycho vibe.
Yeah, it's like a more camp American Psycho kind of thing. Yeah. So you got him, who's just having fun with a shit role. Then you've got great actors like Rosie Perez. You've got Mary Elizabeth Winstead, even Margot Robbie.
But I feel like Rosie Perez was miscast.
But that's what I'm saying. You've got great actors who are just misused, miscast, poorly written, poorly directed, and so they just kind of piss fart around and their performances are whatever, and I don't care about them. And then you've got other actors who just aren't that good. Like the little girl who plays Cassandra Cain, she's not that good. But that also could be because I haven't seen her in anything before and it's a poorly written character. She might be very good. But you know what I'm saying is I'm not familiar with some of these other actors and they're all bad. So a lot of it probably just comes back to writing.
Most
the characters are just poorly developed and... You know,
and the direction is also
and the direction's
bad.
Not good. Yeah,
like I remember Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Huntress has like one facial expression the entire movie, and that's just discontented or angry.
She's an amazing actress, and I was just like, I would really love to see a good Huntress movie with her, with a better director and a better script. Because I was excited, and I was like,
she spends the entire movie just scowling and being like, I'm going to kill someone with my bow. I'm just like, fantastic, okay.
Look,
like actually no, you know what? I feel like Janice Smollett-Bell as Black Canary. She did an alright performance.
I thought she was bad.
Really?
I thought she was straight up bad. And again, maybe it was just the writing of the character because it's a poorly written character.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I thought her acting was okay.
Between like Huntress is like almost like one-dimensional character in Birds of Prey in the movie.
Yeah.
But Black Canary, I was like, I don't even want her in this movie because they're so poorly written.
She was just like around, and then she involves herself, and she's
so
like
bad
just there.
Yeah, but anyway, we'll move into spoilers. But I just want to say one more thing: is like I said, DC needs to get their shit together. They need to figure out what they're doing, and they need to get people who like and understand and have passion for the characters. But I think the main problem is that they're trying to make it for a general audience and not alienate people. But in the process, they make a movie that is for no one. Mm-hmm. In trying to make a movie for everyone, they make a movie for no one. There are several times in this movie where a cool DC C-list villain could have just rocked up. Yeah. And they don't. It's just a random, boring henchman. And I was like, again, that probably comes down to the writer and director and all that.
The
not
person
really
who wrote the
knowing.
Script didn't give a shit. They didn't do the research.
Exactly. Not knowing or liking the universe. But also, I feel like they don't want to go too comic booky or too much superhero powers because they don't want to alienate people. But again, come back to Shazam. The reason people like that is because it's accurate. It's true to the comics. It's not just character wise, but all the crazy comic booky stuff they put in that.
Well, you compare it to the Marvel movies, which are incredibly successful.
Yeah,
they lean into it,
and I think we've talked about this before. We must have. people who have never read a comic book in their life, who would probably hate comic books if they read them. People who are unfamiliar with the entire Marvel roster love the MCU.
Oh, absolutely.
You can't tell me making a nerdy as shit DC movie with lots of comic booky weird stuff would alienate people.
The same reason people who hate sci-fi still go and watch Star Wars.
Yeah.
Exact same thing.
Exactly. DC needs to, they need to grow some balls.
Pretty much.
You know?
I mean, before we move on, as far as the casting goes, the actress who plays Renee Montoya.
Yeah, Rosie Perez.
I didn't really have a problem with her performance.
Yeah.
But that actress is 55 years old.
Yeah.
Playing a character who canonically should be maximum mid-30s.
Yeah.
Like, because the character in question goes on to become a kind of a hero herself, with, at various points or whatever. But the question, who's like a kind of like a detective,
but even
I'm like, you can't follow up on that arc now because it doesn't really make sense.
Even if she never becomes the question, like in the animated, like the Batman animated series, she's like a young rookie cop.
Like eager to prove herself.
Yeah, exactly. And, Harvey Bullock is always, screwing things up, and she's like,
exactly.
Like that would have been more interesting, and
like, you said you have her on the decline already.
Yeah.
In her arc, I mean, as well.
Yeah.
Like that kind of, she's already tried
in terms of her career. Yeah.
Like, so she has nothing to prove. She's already failed. Where are you going to take her now?
Yeah, exactly. It's just all the characters are poorly written, and regardless of how good the cast is, you can't salvage it. But yeah, we'll move into spoilers. But I mean, if you're for some reason listening to this, you haven't seen the movie, it's not worth it.
Honestly, don't spend your hard-earned money.
It's just boring.
Allegedly, it's the first of a trilogy.
Yeah, nothing happens in the first half an hour, and then I never, when I'm in the movies, I never touch my phone. Never. I pulled my phone out of my pocket, and we were only an hour into it, and I was like, oh my God.
You lean over, you're like, how are we only an hour in?
Yeah, there's only an hour in, and I was like, my God.
The movie felt long.
Yeah.
I don't know how long the actual running length was, but
I don't think it's even that long. It's not even 2 hours. It's an hour and 49 minutes.
It felt
longer.
It felt a lot
It felt like
longer
3 hours.
It did.
Like nothing happens in it.
One thing that pisses me off is one of the coolest villains from the comics, Black Mask, is the central villain in this, and I was bored.
Yeah. That's the thing.
It feels like a crime.
Actually, we walked out of the movie, and I turned to Callum. I said, how can they make a movie about Harley Quinn so boring? She's such a fun, crazy character.
Comic booky. Yeah, she's comic booky.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I don't understand, why they didn't lean into it. For lack of a better word, she's kind of zany.
But that's the thing, is they try to lean into it by doing a try-hard, like, cool, edgy, like, she swears and she punches people and she has, and it doesn't work because they don't understand the character, and they don't understand that they're making a comic book or a superhero movie. And they're trying to ground it in certain places. Like, it doesn't even look like Gotham. It's just
New York.
Like, half the movie takes place, more than half the movie takes place, like, during the day.
Yeah.
And people are just walking around, and I'm just like, this doesn't feel like Gotham.
You want to tell me citizens aren't fleeing the minute they see her?
Like, not even the fact that it doesn't feel like Gotham. It doesn't feel like a seedy underbelly, crime movie that it should.
There's no threat, which sounds ridiculous, but Gotham's a threatening place.
Yeah. Like, there are all these gang members walking around, but it's like bright during the day, and there's just like people walking their dogs and stuff. And I'm just like, who made this movie?
Have they read a Batman comic?
Yeah. They were going off the 60s Batman, where it's just LA, and it's like every shot is just noon, and they're all like, Batman and Robin is walking down the street.
Swap!
Yeah. But see, they missed an opportunity to do stuff like that too, like cool cartoony, like,
Yeah, they could have gone full ham.
Especially when she does the coke, and they could have done like, bam,
Could you imagine, like, the movie's bad enough. I could even cheese it up even more. They could have had, like, she does the coke, and then it's like almost like a 60s, like, Batman TV show-esque version of, like, Harley Quinn.
Let's go into spoilers now. Let's go into spoilers now, because we'll talk about, like, what actually happens in the movie. Well, nothing happens. And we'll talk about how we'll fix it, and we'll be earning a lot of checks this episode, because goddamn.
It's not hard, as you'll find out.
So yeah, the movie's not good. It's boring. The action is terrible. It plays down all the cool comic book stuff. It's unfunny. It's trying so hard to be funny. It's not funny at all. It's violent and trying to be edgy, but it's also playing it safe and it's very tame.
The violence, it's violent in quotes, but it's not offensive
really,
violence.
It doesn't look good, and it's not worth it. And I hope they don't make many more. And because this movie's not doing very well, hopefully they won't. Margot Robbie, I think, is going to be in the new Suicide Squad. So her as a character, as playing Harley Quinn, she's going to be fine and move on into other DC movies. So that's not a problem for her. But yeah, it's just a shame that we couldn't get a good movie out of this and then have, good future installments. And yeah, this movie actually makes me very worried for the Suicide Squad, quote unquote, reboot. And even, Joker, which, the more I think about it, the less I like it. And that has me, they've been talking about maybe making a Joker 2, and it's just, I don't want any of that. And, even Shazam 2, with The Rock, pretty much taking over the movie.
As he does to all the franchises.
Yeah, and even Wonder Woman 1984, which is coming out soon, which I was really excited for at first, but they kept delaying it, and the closer it gets to actually coming out, I'm actually really worried that it's just not going to be good, and I'm not hyped for it anymore. And so I'm kind of back to square one with DC movies, where I'm just like, they're going to be bad now again.
I told you. So, James, this is one of them. I feel like you had optimism going into this, right?
No. I didn't feel either way. But I was like, if it is true that it is not connected to Suicide Squad, and it was R-rated, which was true, I was like, at least we'll have that.
Yeah.
But that ended up not really meaning anything. Yeah.
As soon as I saw the trailer, I think I watched the trailer once. I was like, it's going to suck.
I said at the start of the show, none of us wanted to see it.
Yeah.
But I was like, I didn't expect it to be bad in this way. Like the fact that it sucked all the life and the cool comic book out of the comic book movie. And that's the thing, is DC, they need to get their shit together, and the filmmakers they choose need to be passionate about the characters. They don't need to be encyclopedic knowledge of all the characters, but they have to have at least some...
I feel like they should have to read a few graphic novels before they start writing
and if they
the script.
I don't know how many times I've I've seen an interview with a filmmaker, and they're like, "Oh, I made this movie, but I didn't like the thing, so I decided to change it." I'm like, "Hang on,
then
that's
don't
the
make the
problem."
movie.
Yeah, I'm like, "That's the problem. You should have said, I don't like the character. I'll move on.
Yeah.
Thank you."
Not everybody can be Lynch making Dune.
I mean,
that works one time.
Yeah, I mean, Shining kind of did it. Kubrick did it with The Shining, but.
That's Kubrick.
Exception to the rule.
You're not.
If you're not David Lynch or Kubrick, move on.
All you filmmakers out there, you're not fucking Lynch or Kubrick, so stop trying, okay? Well, don't stop trying, but stop ruining movies that other people would
One
make
question,
good.
James.
Yeah.
Are you surprised that DC has disappointed you again?
Not surprised, no. But I am disappointed because after Shazam, we was looking good. And Joker hadn't come out when Shazam came out. And we're like, oh, standalone. It's like that idea of standalone, that's what got me excited, because DC does so well with their animated stuff.
Yeah.
Because they just make cool standalone adventures. And that's what they need to do with their live action stuff. But DC needs to figure their shit out. What do they want to do?
It's the separation. So with the animated stuff, I'm pretty sure they have the comic book writers writing the script for the animated stuff. And so they're already in a space where they know what to do.
Most of the DC animated movies are based on comic books anyway.
Yeah. So it's like it's already like the people they need for that are already there.
Yeah.
But when you make the transition to live, they want to draw from an entirely different pool.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
Or they want to ignore the source material.
Which is weird, right? Because you'd think that DC is Marvel's doing their own thing. DC has the perfect opportunity to be like, we're going to make these live action superhero films based on specific comic books. Like a Long Halloween movie.
They should just do that.
It's even shot for shot, frankly.
And we talked about this when we saw the movie. It's like DC owns all the rights to all their characters.
Exactly.
It's not a Marvel situation where some of their characters they can't use.
They have privileges they probably don't even really are cognizant of.
Yeah, exactly. They don't understand that they have the ability to, and we'll actually go into this more further later on. They have the ability to make a Birds of Prey movie, cast, I don't know, Leo DiCaprio as Joker, and then make Joker 2 with Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah. And then make the Batman movie with Robert Pattinson and cast Willem Dafoe as Joker in that.
Yeah.
And just don't explain it.
No,
like,
it's fine.
they're
all in
separate
different time
universes.
periods.
And that's the thing. DC need to grow some balls. 10-year-old kids aren't going to get confused because different actors are playing the same character in different movies.
And anyway, you don't want a Joaquin Phoenix Joker Lego set because you sent in the wrong message.
Well, yeah.
Like, keep it age appropriate.
You might start a shooting or something. But yeah, we'll talk about that more later on. They have the ability, and they should double down on that because then they can sign on really cool actors who aren't going to sign on for a Marvel style 20 movie contract. They can get Keanu in for one movie.
Yeah,
he can play Deathstroke for one movie, and then he's not in it anymore. And if they need it,
I didn't realize I needed Keanu Reeves as Deathstroke.
I know, right? I just came up with that now. But if they need a new Deathstroke for another movie, just cast another guy.
Yeah, that's it.
Who cares? It's not the same universe. That's why I like the Titans and the Doom Patrol shows. It's like they take place in separate universes, but in both universes, the Justice League exists. Batman exists. All the DC characters have already existed, but they're just played. They can be played by different actors, and that's the best thing about the animated stuff. They made a Gotham by Gaslight movie, and then they made a Arkham Asylum movie. It's two different, universes, two different time periods, different voice cast.
DC, listen to us.
I know it's easy. I know it's easier to do an animated. You just get a new voice actor and new animator. But
DC, just listen to us for a second. Do what you're doing with the animated movies. Do the same thing live action.
I've been saying that from the beginning.
Yeah.
When I saw Justice League War, the first of the new animated Justice League movies, I was like, add another 20, 30 minutes onto that, film it in live action. You've got an amazing Justice League movie to start your universe, and then you can make. But instead, they made the shitty Batman v Superman and the Justice League movie they ended up making. It's just all this fucking nonsense.
Hashtag release the Snyder Cut, even though it probably won't be very good.
Well, it won't be good, but
I still want to see it.
I'm curious. Yeah. But yeah, let's go into spoilers because we've been beating around the bush. Full spoiler warning for Birds of Prey, but even if it gets spoiled,
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. We can tell you the whole film start to finish. Nothing happens in it, and it's not really worth.
All right, let's try and condense it as quick as possible. Harley Quinn wants to be out on her own.
Oh, yeah. So the movie opens, the first 10 minutes is just Harley Quinn's broken up with the Joker.
Yeah.
And so she spends the first, 10 or more minutes of the movie just, on the couch crying or, having drinks with her girlfriends.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is boring. It's not fun. I know they're playing it for laughs. It's not funny.
Yeah.
You're trying to do this thing of, she don't need no man, but she's... clearly devastated by it, which I know again is a joke, but it's not funny and it's not well, and it's so boring. It goes on for so long, and then something with a diamond.
Something diamond.
Yeah.
So Black Mask, to increase his criminal reach, wants a diamond which has Swedish bank accounts encoded in the DNA or whatever of the diamond.
Bertinelli crime family
got slaughtered.
Got slaughtered and had all their Swiss bank accounts across the world, hidden
encoded
bank
into
accounts
a diamond,
encoded into the structure of a diamond. The diamond went missing, and Black Mask, played by Ewan McGregor, who never wears his mask except for one scene. He's a crime boss in Gotham who wants that diamond to get the
Swiss bank accounts.
Yes, to get the money.
Eventually, Black Mask gets Harley Quinn involved in the search for the diamond.
Yeah,
because everyone wants to kill her now that she's not with the Joker.
He finds out she's not with the Joker, so he tries to kill her because she's annoying. But then she says...
Fair enough.
That's fair. But then she says, I can find you the diamond. So he lets her go. And I was like, that made no sense. They know where the diamond is.
She has a damn business card that has Finder. I'm like, that's so dumb.
That's another thing I fucking hate about this movie. They try to make Harley Quinn into an anti-hero or a good guy.
She's not neutral. She's a criminal.
Yeah, she's a bad guy. Yes, in the comic books, she might sometimes do the right thing. She's not as pure evil as Joker. Joker gets mad in the animated series when she does the right thing.
As Callum said yesterday, in the DC universe, most of the full villains will come to the hero's aid when there's a universe apocalypse event.
The thing
doesn't make them heroes.
The thing DC's doing with Birds of Prey is they're because Margot Robbie's likable and she's so hot right now, and Harley Quinn is like very popular now. It's like they're trying to
soften her.
Yeah, exactly. And in doing so, you take away a large part of what makes the character
like,
who she is.
I mean, obviously,
and it makes her boring.
She's not as bad as her counterpart, the Joker. But it's like when people try to humanize the Joker, I'm like, go back and read like Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns, when he like gasses an entire audience of people. Yeah, that's the Joker.
We talked about when we reviewed Joker, like the essence of the Joker is he's evil on two legs.
Yeah,
like
he's
and you can't defeat him because he doesn't have a past, and he doesn't have a goal. Yeah, he just wants to fuck shit up.
It's chaos.
Yeah, and that's why he's the scariest villain. Because he's pure chaos.
And Harley Quinn
evil.
loves him for that.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. It's like you're trying to soften her when she is being complicit in outrageous attacks.
And I understand you want an audience to have some sympathy for your lead character. But you can do that without turning her into, softening her to the point where... And it's very obvious that they're doing that. It's not like they give her a few things to make her more likable.
Yeah,
she doesn't kill anyone unless they're expressly said to be a villain.
Yeah,
she breaks into the cop station and she's shooting them all with like confetti bombs.
Yeah,
I was like, this is so tame and lame. And
they very much spin her into being a victim.
And like Callum was saying with the business card, like she's like, oh, I'm not with the Joker anymore. I'm a bounty hunter. I'm an investigator. I can do... Like they're trying to turn her into anti-hero. I'm like, no, she's just a crazy lady with a hammer. Like that's the fun thing. Don't fuck around with it,
Yeah.
And I think this also comes into... I know there are a lot of successful Harley Quinn like standalone comic books. But I think Harley Quinn works best as a supporting character.
Yeah,
that's why I think if you make like the animated Suicide Squad movies they made are really good because she's part of an ensemble, and that's why Birds of Prey would have been perfect because you have Black Canary and Huntress and Montoya, but the movie just ends up focusing 99% on Harley Quinn, featuring a couple of like cameo scenes from Huntress, Black Canary, and Montoya, who have no real business being there.
Yeah, none at all. It's weird.
They kind of ruin their opportunity for a good ensemble Birds of Prey movie by making a shitty Harley Quinn movie where she does nothing and then having a couple other characters beat around at the same time. And
it's the same... I think I mentioned to you one thing I didn't like. I mentioned it to you. I'm not sure how much you agreed with me. Is they try to shoehorn in somewhat of a non-linear narrative, almost like very much a Pulp Fiction-esque.
That was
sort of like crossover of timelines going on.
That was them trying to be smart, and they should have just played it straight. Like stop.
You're
fucking
not Quentin
around.
Tarantino. Calm down.
Oh, that's another thing. Is like they do voiceover, and voiceover is the laziest fucking shit in movies. I hate it. Unless you're Scorsese, don't do it. Or alternatively, unless you've got a reason for it and you've got a good idea behind it. And I think what they're trying to do with Birds of Prey is do a Deadpool thing.
Yeah.
With like, oh no, hold up, that's not how it happened. Rewind. Yeah. And it's fucking lame in this movie and it doesn't work.
It's cheesy. I was reminded of this. I'm looking through the trivia, just being interested in all. And it says the movie was under the working title of Fox Force 5, which is the name of the fictional television show that never made it past production of its pilot in Pulp Fiction. So obviously it took a little bit, or wanted to take a little bit from Pulp Fiction, and it ends up just being lame.
I think Margot Robbie, she's passionate about the character, and much kind of like Deadpool. After playing the character once, she's like,
stuck with it.
She's now like, this is I want it. And, like I said, with a good writer and a good director, she would be perfect in that role. But as the last couple of times we've seen her, she's not good because of the writing and directing. And so it's kind of like how long do we keep her around as Harley Quinn?
As long as the movies keep making enough money to justify sequels.
If Deadpool came out and was terrible, you'd be like, yeah, but Ryan Reynolds, he's born to play, we'll give him one more chance, How long would you have to drag that out?
Yeah. Ideally 2 chances, that's it.
And that's the thing. It's like
people deserve a second chance, it's like but Harley third Quinn, chances, maybe not.
Like Harley Quinn, like Margot Robbie's already had 2 chances, and it's not her fault. I don't blame her. She's perfect for the character.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they keep fucking up because they don't know what they're doing with the character.
Exactly.
So that's the thing is like they need to just full reboot.
Reboot so we can get Black Mask back.
Oh no, but then you got to keep Ewan McGregor.
Yeah. No, that's fine. No, keep Ewan McGregor. Just don't mention.
I'm such a hypocrite though. I just said get rid of all the cast.
I know, but that wasn't like. So to me, that wasn't. That was like a very exaggerated version of Black Mask. Because, like I said, one of my big problems is he doesn't put the mask. So in the comics, whenever he's doing bad shit, he's got the mask on. Yeah. Right? And I know that there's a whole thing where he has mental illness or whatever, and the mask is like, speaks to him. And I think
at one point in the comic books, it might get stuck, like gets burned onto his face.
That's what I like. I like that. It's like Green Goblin-y.
Yeah.
Right? I love that.
They should have done that, but all the characters are so underdeveloped that they don't, like, he's just a camp evil guy.
Yeah, it's like someone was like, oh, so there's a bad guy called Black Mask who's a crime boss and sometimes he wears a mask, and they just film that.
Yeah.
It's not, they didn't actually go and look at the character and that history. They just like, it's like someone, just to say you've read one comic book with Black Mask.
Yeah.
I've never read any. I'm making Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
You tell me a few facts about Black Mask, I take what you told me and I make this film.
But like, me, one of the things I would have told you is he wears a black mask.
I didn't say you cared about the comics.
I didn't say he'd listen.
Yeah, it's like the thing in this movie is like he wears it once near the end for like 3 seconds. But I understand you're casting Ewan McGregor. You know, you want to show him off. You know, you want him to have full acting range ability in his facial features, whatever. But at a certain point, the character is more important.
That's right. He's Black Mask. It's not. Yeah. It's not Ewan McGregor in a suit.
Yeah, exactly. He's just a crime boss in this movie, and
he's
like,
good.
And he's one of the coolest bad guys in the comics.
Yeah, if he was just going to be a crime boss, just make him Falcone or something.
No, exactly. You know? What are you doing, wasting that character?
Yeah, like have him go full mental with the mask at one point. There should have been I was waiting for it. There should have been a moment either the mask gets stuck on him because Harley Quinn like throws a bomb at him and it gets burned onto his face, and that's why he's after it. Or he should like have a mental breakdown and like refuse to take off the mask.
Yeah, or he can hear the mask talk to him and shit.
Or like you said, Green Goblin kind of thing. Yeah, like the mask, like he becomes the mask kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is like actually an interesting movie that takes the comic book as like inspiration. Oh man. It's just so disappointing because I'm like, they spend so much time and money on this stuff, and I was just
on Twitter, and there was someone talking about how all the people who don't like Birds of Prey are just sexist who are upset that Margot Robbie is doing another good. I'm like, no, like don't. I understand some people. We always say there is some people will enjoy this movie, and that's fine.
Yeah,
I wish I did enjoy the movie because then I wouldn't be out $20.
Oh yeah,
but. At the end of the day...
I wish I could go see this movie multiple times and love it and buy it on Blu-ray.
At the end of the day, no matter what anyone on the internet says, it's a boring film to me. Not because of the characters from the comics. It just wasn't well made.
Also, even if it was 100% comic book accurate, it's just a bad movie. Yeah, it's poorly made. The editing's bad. The cinematography's boring.
It was
camera
boring.
work is boring. Like the characters are underdeveloped. It's like we always say, a bad movie is a bad movie. Like, doesn't regardless of what you think
or anyone else thinks.
Is canon or what the characters did in the comic books.
It's not even like subjectively bad. This movie's just plain boring, which is worse.
This isn't like a Last Jedi situation where some people are saying, oh, well, you just don't understand the deep layers, blah, blah, blah. It's like this movie's boring, it's not complicated, it just sucks.
I can't see, like, because people, when they said that about Last Jedi, were wrong.
Yeah.
100%
no, they are,
objectively wrong. But I can't see people defending this movie in the same way. I've been like, you just don't understand the layers. Because there's no layers. None.
Like, it gets to the end of the film where you have the little girl who stole the diamond is being held captive by Harley Quinn in... what was the...
the booby trap.
Yeah, the booby trap, which is like the final action set location.
Yeah. And they're trying to make her poop.
Yeah, because she
swallowed the diamond. Yeah.
Anyway, this is supposed to be like the climatic battle scene at the end of the film.
Yeah.
And it's in it's mostly set in one interior location.
Yeah.
And
they're in a fun house, so there's like revolving weird things and like, you know, seesaw kind of things, but it's all in the same one room,
and it looks cheap.
It's just the camera just doesn't move. It's like dark, really boring,
and it looks cheap. And
this was their big climactic kind of moment. Like the action scenes in this movie are terrible. They're so boring.
I hated it.
You can tell
that scene. I hated that scene specifically.
Yeah, you can tell they're going for like a cool martial arts, like she's flipping and cool stuff, but it's like shot so boring and edited so boring. And because you don't care about what's going on, it's like, well, who cares?
Yeah.
It's just flat and boring. And it's because they play down the comic bookiness, no one's doing cool, like crazy shit, except for right at the end of the movie where Canary unleashes her sonic scream thing.
Yeah.
I was like, well, where was that the whole movie? Like, that's Black Canary's thing.
Yeah, that's her thing. Like it's like Black Mask. He puts on the mask at the end of the film.
One time.
I'm like, well...
Yeah, it's just it's like what you're wasting. Stop wasting time. You spent millions of dollars on this movie, months of people's time.
Who approved this cut? You know what I mean? Like who looked at that? Yeah, that's what we're shipping. That's it.
Yeah, the same people who thought Last Jedi was good. You know, the same people who release all these shitty movies that we always talk about. Like it's a complete lack of understanding or.
Yeah, it's just I'm not as much of a comic book fan as you two dudes.
Yeah,
it's just disappointing.
Yeah, but it's just a boring movie. So I mean, we kind of So Cassandra Cain is just like a young girl who's from a broken foster family. She pickpockets. She happens to pickpocket Victor Zsasz as he's taking the diamond out of a bank vault. Why it was there and why Black Mask didn't have it on him, I can't remember. She pickpockets it, and then she bumps. Then when Harley Quinn gets kidnapped by Black Mask, she's like, I can find it, even though they already know where it is because they know where Cassandra is.
But Harley gets the kid, and then she decides she's going to protect the kid.
Yeah,
and she needs to protect the kid to make her poop the diamond out because she's not a villain. She's not just going to kill the kid and get the diamond.
She doesn't want to gut the kid. But then she has a change of heart when everyone betrays her, and she's like, I'm going to sell the kid back to Black Mask. And then they go to the fun house, the amusement park, and then all Black Mask's guys come, and she decides, I'm going to actually help you and fight against.
Which is weird.
And meanwhile, Huntress, whose father and family were the Bertinelli crime family who were slaughtered for the diamond, she's been training all her life for revenge, and she comes to kill all the bad guys. And Black Canary is a singer at Black Mask's club.
The actress does her own singing, which is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense if you got a Black Canary actor to do their own singing. And Black Mask likes her so much that he makes her his driver, but she sees that he's crazy and violent, so she switches sides. And Renee Montoya is a police detective who no one takes seriously.
So close to her pension.
Yeah, I'm too old for this shit. And she's trying to, take down Black Mask. She's been building a case against him. I'm making this movie sound more interesting than it actually is.
0 out of 10.
Nothing happens in the movie. Yeah. It's just these characters kind of walking around, and then they eventually all end up at the funhouse at the end, and they shoot a bunch of guys, and it's the end. It's boring.
Yeah, it
bad,
sucks.
And it's just a waste. Because, like I said, I was just like, after watching the movie, I was just like, they should have just made a Huntress movie.
Yeah.
Where it's just a remake of John Wick, but you've got Huntress and Black Mask should have been like the bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Easter eggs and cameos.
Yeah.
And, like one thing I read, apparently Kirsten Stewart was going to play Batwoman in this movie, but they cut it out of the script. I don't know if that would have been a good thing or a bad thing.
That would have been interesting.
Look, I wonder, this is just my theory, going back to what we've been discussing, I wonder if they cut her out because they don't want to confuse people because there's an upcoming Batgirl standalone movie and Ruby Rose plays Batwoman in the TV shows. DC needs to grow some balls.
Mm-hmm.
Kristen Stewart should have just played Batwoman or Batgirl in this version of the Harley Quinn universe.
Then when that script would have looked like.
Then when they make another... also, because I'm pretty sure Barbara Gordon is part of or tangential to the Birds of Prey. And even when she becomes Oracle.
Yeah.
So you could actually even... That would be interesting.
I'm just wondering where she would have fit in the script. Because they cut her out of the script. It would have been a clean break.
Well, I mean, the script is a mess in its final form. So you can imagine early drafts. But, you know, the movie could have been so much different back then. But maybe she was Oracle and she'd been shot by Joker before the events of the movie, and she's just like eye in the sky. And then her and Harley Quinn could, you know, butt heads over the fact that Harley Quinn was Joker's, you know, accomplice. They could even mention that maybe Harley Quinn was there when Barbara got shot, and Barbara holds it against her, and, you know,
poor Babs.
Anything's better than what they do in this movie. And that's the other thing, actually, we'll talk about is because... So no one liked Jared Leto's Joker. And again,
except Jared Leto.
Yeah. And again, I blame that on the director and the writer.
Also, I'm going to insist on Jared's defense here. According to him, there are a whole bunch of stuff they shot that didn't get included in the movie.
And that kind of, I guess, ties into my argument of I blame the director and the writer.
Because Jared Leto is a very good actor.
But from the very beginning, before this film was even shot, they went about it in the wrong way.
Oh, yeah.
The tattoos, not just the visualization, but how Leto plays the character. The way he speaks, the way he moves. It was a poor, bad way of...
Yeah. It was a very hot topic,
interpreting
like you said.
Exactly, interpreting the character. Under a better director and with a better script, Leto would have done fine and we wouldn't be having this discussion. Yeah. But this carries on into Birds of Prey, which they're like, oh, it's not connected to Suicide Squad, even though there's, you know, Easter eggs and they mention the events of Suicide Squad. And there's even a poster of a wanted poster of Captain Boomerang. And, you know, like I said, Jai Courtney and other actors are reprising their roles from Suicide Squad in the new Suicide Squad reboot. So it's all connected. Like, stop fucking around. DC needs to fucking pick a lane. Is it a reboot or not?
Yeah.
And one of the major problems with this movie is that at least the beginning or the whole... Because it's so poorly written, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. But the whole thing is supposed to be that it's Harley Quinn's emancipation from Joker. She goes out on her own. And so they open the movie with like a cartoon of them breaking up because they're not going to show Jared Leto. And then there's a couple of like shots of a stand-in of a guy with green hair, you know, and you see him like with Harley Quinn. And I was like I said, they need to grow some balls and just cast another actor as Joker, because I feel like Joker needs to be in this movie if you're going to make a movie about Harley Quinn going out on her own, but then never really show the fact that she kind of sticks it to the Joker.
You know who I would cast?
Yeah.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah, I'd be down for that. Even if he just, like I said, does one movie, never comes back again. Then when you do Birds of Prey 2, you don't need Joker anymore. No. Yeah, he's in Arkham. That's what, you know.
That's it.
That's it. He's not, you don't even have to say that. Like, you know, but when you're making this movie where a large part of the character of Harley is supposed to be like fighting against her past with Joker, but then you can't show him, can't really have, and by the end of the movie, I was like, well, like her whole thing is like she's going out on her own, doing her own thing, and no one takes her seriously. And the people start coming after her now that she's not under the Joker's protection. Yeah. But by the end of the movie, I didn't get the sense that she's become her own person. You know what? Because the movie's poorly written and the characters are underdeveloped.
I think I think this would have been a really good if you wanted to illustrate the separation of Harley Quinn from the Joker. Yeah. It would have been interesting if she gathered a group of the Birds of Prey, even though this is they'll be doing villainous activities. Like a heist movie. Like, imagine Ocean's 11 with supervillains.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is...
And like, that's her, movie, like, big action without Joker.
They should have cut out Cassandra Cain completely and just had... Well, I had another idea of, instead of doing that crappy animated opening, you do it, like, in the style of Batman the Animated Series, because Harley Quinn was created for the animated series. She wasn't originally a comic book character. And you get, like, the same style of animation and actually like animate like a mini 2-minute episode of Batman the Animated Series where the Joker breaks up with Harley Quinn. I think that would be really fun. And it would also, you could even get Mark Hamill to voice Joker. And also it would, that way you don't have to get Leto back. Yeah. But that doesn't fix the problems of the rest of the movie where you kind of need a Joker, at least in a couple scenes.
But I think going back to what Callum was saying real quick, having that idea of a central sort of like a heist movie or at least a criminal activity.
That's what I was going to say. Is they should
that fixes a lot of the movie's problems because she has to establish herself as an individual without the Joker. Yeah. And she's insane. By doing that, it'd be proving herself as a criminal in her own right.
But that's what I was going to say. Is they should have cut Cassandra out of the movie completely. Have the movie start with the animated intro, and you don't have to cast another Joker because DC doesn't have any balls. And instead of her crying for 20 minutes about not having the Joker and then, piss farting around for the rest of the movie, start the movie, she's broken up with the Joker, she's like, I'm going to show everyone I'm a criminal mastermind. If Joker is Clown Prince of Crime, I'm the Crown Princess of Crime, I'm going to fuck shit up. She hears about this diamond that Black Mask wants, and she's like, cool, I'm going to steal it.
Yeah.
And then, like a heist movie, but meanwhile, Huntress wants to steal the diamond because she wants hers. One, it's hers, but two, she wants to ruin Black Mask for killing her family. Meanwhile, Black Canary wants to steal the diamond because she's sick of her life in Gotham and she wants to leave town, and so she needs money.
That would also work with that Pulp Fiction shtick they want to
exactly. So have all three characters get equal amounts of stuff to do,
There's already more motivation than there is in the actual film.
Yeah, exactly, right? And they're all going after this diamond that Black Mask has or is trying to get. And then at a certain point, they realize they have to work together to steal the diamond and defeat Black Mask.
Send us a check.
Exactly.
It's pretty much done. There you go.
Like, it's already there.
It's not hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it is hard, but it's not hard.
But, that way you've got all three characters have different motivations, but all motivations that make sense. All motivations tied to Black Mask.
Puts everyone where they need to be.
Yeah. Turn up the comic booky shit. Have Black Canary fucking blasting guys with her voice and have Huntress fucking... She's got a motorbike.
Yeah.
There's only one motorbike action scene in this movie.
There's no Citrix. What's going on?
She's got a crossbow, but she just shoots guys. There's no cool...
There's no double action over a jump.
Yeah, she's not like jumping off buildings, like shooting dual crossbows like she's in the comic book. She just like walks up to a guy and shoots him with a crossbow and then walks away. And I was like, this is boring. This movie's boring. Same with Harley Quinn. She finally gets her hammer, her mallet. And I'm like, yeah, that's fun. But she just like walks up to guys, hits them, and then there's a couple bits where she flips over a car and whatever, but it's so poorly shot and boring. The only decent action scene was at the end where she's being pulled behind Huntress's motorbike on roller skates, and she jumps up onto the convertible car and she's like punching the guys. It's like, that was kind of cool. But other than that, like, it's boring. I'm like, why don't you do more of that? Have more... You've got
motion.
Exactly. You've got Huntress. She's got a crossbow and a motorcycle. Use that. You've got Harley Quinn. She's got a mallet and gymnastic ability.
I mean, even Black Canary has gymnastic ability, at least in the comics.
Well, yeah, at the end of the movie, Black Canary's like flipping, kicking guys. I was like, where did this come from?
Yeah, exactly. She just kind of, usually she just kind of walks around, then she does her voice thing. But
to be fair, we know nothing of her backstory.
Yeah, exactly. Her mother died, and for some reason, Montoya knows that Black Canary has powers.
Apparently her mother
had powers.
Did her mother have powers with the comics? I don't know.
But Canary refuses to use the powers because reasons?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the movie where they're like...
You know what you have to do.
And it was like...
Cover your ears,
why
everybody.
Why didn't she do that at the start of the movie? Well, why didn't if she has that ability, why does she need to be subservient to Black Mask? She should have just like robbed the bank. She should have robbed the bank by blowing out the vault door with her voice.
That would have
been a cool opening scene.
Yeah.
Or alternatively, make this like a cool 90s movie where the opening scene is Cassandra Cain picking pockets and she picks the diamond, and then it's like a Get That Kid movie.
Oh, yeah.
And Cassandra is like more of the focus of the movie, and she has to hide out with different people. And there's like, and they put that's another thing. So they put a bounty out on Harley Quinn's head.
Yeah.
And all these just randoms come to kill her, and it's just boring. Like there's a bikey guy, there's a Frida Kahlo looking lady,
a whole bunch of cholos.
Yeah, a bunch of cholos. Like it's just like boring, random. I'm like, and I was just
like we were saying,
why don't you use the
rogues gallery?
Like, just B or C list villains.
Yeah.
Like, have them rock up, you don't need to kill him off. She knocks him out, moves on. You can have him come back. You never have to see him again.
That's it.
But that's what's so great about the animated movies. Is just like fucking Polka Dot Man will show up. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get you.
The bit where she's fighting the bikies in the warehouse thing, I turned to Callum. I'm like, this should have been King Shark.
Yeah, no, that's exactly
right.
He
should have just been like, I want that money, I want that bounty, and he should have just started smashing stuff.
There's no legal reason you can't have a big, interesting cast.
They own the rights, and even if James Gunn was writing into his script, King Shark's in it, then use another villain. You got 700 from the last 80 years to choose from.
Yeah, the amount of random villains in the Batman catalog as well. That's like not even the A-listers.
You know who I wanted to see in this movie? Just as almost like as a joke cameo? Scarface. You know the ventriloquist guy?
Yeah.
Like his whole shtick is he's a normal ventriloquist guy, but his dummy is a gangster.
Yeah.
And the dummy makes him do gangster shit.
Yeah.
That would be perfect for this movie, which is trying to be a funny Deadpool ripoff.
We could have got a nice bit of cheese when he says, "Say hello to my little friend."
Yeah, and exactly. But that would have been perfect for this movie where they're going for a Deadpool kind of sense of humor. It's like silly. She could have come in and be like, "I'm here for the bounty, bitch." And it's like, and she's like,
the dummy stabs someone.
Yeah, and then the dummy's like trying to stab her, and then she grabs the dummy and like puts a gun to its head, and the ventriloquist is like, "No, please, no." He made me do it. Like, would have been perfect.
Yeah.
But again, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't love or understand this world or these characters. They're afraid of alienating people.
I just want a ventriloquist.
That would have been so funny, right? Scarface. They should remake Scarface.
You could it'd be like a joke. It could be like a joke-esque drama of Scarface. It's like a man with mental illness, and he's just like doing low-level robbery.
You could even have like Scarface and Black Mask juxtaposed, where it's like Scarface. I'm the crazy one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like.
It's like fucking Mad Hatter. What
happened to him? You never see him anymore.
What big budget Batman movie is going to have Mad Hatter in it? None of them, honestly. No. So why not have him rock up in a Harley Quinn
chucking
movie?
hats with bombs in them at people and stuff?
I don't know. Fucking anything.
Yeah.
Maxie Zeus rocks up and electrocutes some people. Oh, cool. He's never going to show up in a mainline Batman movie. Use him.
Yeah.
Have fun with him. They have the perfect opportunity and they're just wasting it. And they're on boring shit. We talked about before, it's like if you're going to change something from the source material, you got to make it better. Yeah. Because otherwise you're just wasting time. You're just making boring stuff based on interesting stuff.
Yeah.
You're not utilizing what's good about the source material.
That's what I don't understand. Like, how can you... I mean, we've asked this question already this episode. How can you make a movie about Harley Quinn boring? It seems so counterintuitive.
I can't believe they made it so boring. She's such a fun character.
Because the movie is just... it's just dry.
Yeah,
for lack of a better word. Like, it's kind of... I didn't really care... I didn't care going in. I cared even less going out.
Yeah.
I didn't even have that righteous anger we sometimes feel when we leave feeling upset.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, like, we had low expectations for the movie and it still disappointed us because it wasn't just bad in, the special effects weren't good or, it was a bit, it was a bit silly. It's like, it's just a complete waste of time and money and resources and a complete waste of 80 years of DC history. Like, you've got it there, use it. You've got the resources to visualize it, to bring it to life.
Exactly, bringing it to life. That's what it's all about. And like I said, it's too real to be a comic book film. Yeah,
they're trying to ground it, but it's also a silly, neon, Deadpool non-linear, like, whoa, it's crazy, huh? It's like, no, nothing's in this movie's crazy because you keep trying to make it kind of plain and grounded.
It's not crazy because it appeals to everybody. So it appeals to nobody.
I also think they, given how well the reaction's been to to Deadpool and Deadpool 2, I think they're also underestimating audiences at least a little bit.
Yeah,
like you can make a movie that's balls to the wall and it'll still get received well.
Deadpool had a good script.
Yeah,
like the characters,
and Ryan Reynolds cares.
Yeah, exactly. But like we talked about, Margot Robbie cares.
Yeah,
but whoever wrote the script didn't. I mean, they might have cared, but they didn't really get it.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
the director probably didn't get it. and whoever's overseeing the movie didn't get it.
Yeah.
You know, whereas Deadpool, it's like the writers kind of got the character and they got the humor, and it was a fun. And you got Ryan Reynolds, who's the perfect actor for it, who can then bring that to life. You know, the first Deadpool for me personally has, you know, it's kind of ugly looking, like it's kind of grey.
Yeah, very.
And there's like some not so good CGI, and the end battle is not great, and the bad guy isn't great.
I'm not saying I understand it, but it was also the first of its...
But one, they slashed the budget in half like last minute.
It was a struggle to get made,
and other things. But, you know, at the end of the day, like, it's a well-written movie. The characters are good. The emotional moments work, and the funny moments work.
And they also kind of proved that they know what they're doing with Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
Like, and they kind of, like, all the problems, most of the problems in Deadpool 1 weren't really present in Deadpool 2.
In terms of, like, the way the movie looked and the action, that all was all fixed in the second movie, but was still well-written.
But Deadpool was an actually R-rated movie for
That's the other thing,
Not an R-rated movie that appeals to everyone and has a broad base.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't let a 15-year-old watch Deadpool if they weren't...
Like, you could easily...
Well, it depends on the child, but generally, like, I wouldn't let younger people watch
Here's
Deadpool.
The thing. I would let a 10 to 15-year-old watch Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
I wouldn't let a 10-year-old watch Deadpool. Depending on it depends on the kid.
It depends on the child, but one of them is much more mature than the other, and they have the same rating.
You could cut out a few bits and pieces of Birds of Prey here, and you could probably get it rated PG.
But that's the thing.
Some little rewrites.
It seems like they were playing it safe.
Just in case, right? Like,
yeah, it's like, oh, maybe at the last minute we'll decide to cut it down to PG-13, which is always the worst way to make an R-rated movie, because then you end up with a shit movie.
It's like
they need to pick a lane.
Yeah,
you know, fucking decide. Do you want to make it crazy, R-rated, violent? Like, obviously, it's still a superhero movie. It's still like there's a limit. It's not Saw or
of course.
It's not Seven. But yeah, just a couple of F-bombs and some blood. Like, that's some kid shit.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, put some effort into it.
That would be a cool superhero movie, though. A movie like Seven that's set in like Gotham.
Yeah, like Batman's having to solve a killer.
Like Gotham
Long
PD.
Long Halloween.
Yeah, like
David Fincher's Long Halloween.
Even Gotham PD, like tracking down.
I know Fincher wasn't Fincher attached to Batman at one point. I mean, everyone's been attached to a Batman at one point.
Fincher's with Netflix now, so whatever he's doing, it's not going to be for a while.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what does Netflix own? They own some comic book shit.
They do.
He could make
they
one of those.
Mark Miller's World.
Millerverse, yeah.
They have some connections with like Dark Horse and stuff.
Yeah, he could do something like that. But yeah, like we were talking about with the heist, I'm like, you know, we talked about this before with like Mission Impossible and James Bond. Like, they need to stop fucking around and just like have a mission movie.
Yeah, exactly.
And they can do this with all the superhero movies. It's just like the opening scene is Two-Face robs a bank, and then Batman chases him and, you know, has to arrest him. What happens next? Up to you. But, you know, like, stop fucking around.
Keep it simple.
Yeah, like that's, like, again, why I love the animated movies is because the movie just opens and you've got the Tinkerer's made a robot thing and he's like, boop, 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 walking down the street and it's like, oh no, Superman, help us. It's like,
it's a comic book.
That's the fun stuff. That's why we like comic books. That's why we like superhero cartoons. That's why we like the MCU. It's like just fun. That's not to say you can't have character development. You can't have like deep emotional moments. But even like The Dark Knight, even the Nolan stuff, even as dark and serious and grounded, that shit's fun.
Oh, yeah.
Dark Knight is a fun movie.
Yeah.
Even though it's like super serious and, you know, gritty, you know, and it's like emotional. Oh, no. But it's like when there's like trucks flipping and he's got the bat pod and he's like driving around, I'm like, yeah, cool.
Yeah, Batman.
Yeah. It's like you can, if you're a good filmmaker, you can do both.
Yeah.
Like, stop fucking around. Just have...
Can we get Nolan back to doing Batman?
Nah. Nah.
Like, I want...
Let Nolan do his own thing because he's doing pretty good.
Yeah,
right
let
now.
him do the original movies because I want... Yeah. But, like, like I love the Dark Knight movies, but I want a bit more cartoony Batman now. Not all the way, you know, 60s camp, but...
Yeah, no,
you know, a bit more comic booky.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Arkham Asylum, like the games, where it's, like, dark and gritty, but it's also kind of comic booky. Yeah, like I'm worried about the new Batman. I mean, I've always been worried about the new Batman movie, but more now. Look, even more now.
What I will say about the new Batman movie, if it ever comes out, I think it will definitely be standalone because I think.
Yeah, but
because Robert Pattinson hasn't been in any of these films.
Yeah, but they say standalone, but what do they mean?
Yeah.
When I say standalone, I mean not
completely unconnected.
Yeah. So you can have, Robert Pattinson plays Batman, but then Birds of Prey 2, Batman shows up and is played by a different guy.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But I think what they're doing is yes, unconnected, they won't cross over, but we're not going to recast Batman in any other movies because that might confuse people. I'm like, grow some balls. I think little kids can figure it out.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll get confused.
And it won't take long for them to get unconfused if they do.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a big deal.
Once you explain it to them once, I'm sure they'll be fine.
It's not a big deal.
But also, I feel like they see that they would see the character more than the. And actually, I said this a few minutes ago, didn't I? The character's more important than the actor. But also, like we said, like Joseph Gordon-Levitt or someone, it would grant opportunities for actors who aren't willing to sign on for multiple movies to play characters that would be cool for them, Keanu or whatever.
But also, you probably get better scripts made, better people interested in writing scripts and directing if it's a one and done.
And that's the other thing is a lot of the time they make movies with big name stars, even though the stars aren't really right for the movie because they need a big name to sell the movie.
Yeah.
It's you've got, Birds of Prey. It's now you can have a big name star in there for that one movie to sell tickets. But it works if you're getting that actor in specifically for that character for that one movie.
Especially in the writing process, how many sort of script ideas are rejected because it's a one and done movie, or how many writers are hesitant to write these superhero movies because they'll be expected to at least lay the groundwork for movies to follow.
Well, that's another thing.
We just want singular ideas.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing is, we're talking about the problems with the MCU and it comes kind of samey. It's I think it is a problem if you're brought in to write a movie that has to connect to 7 other movies.
Yeah. Exactly.
But,
so it's harder to write.
Yeah. But also, we've talked about how when they make a movie like Man of Steel, for instance, where that's supposed to be the basis or, for their trilogy or for their universe, but they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't know how to set things up. They don't understand the world. So it's kind of a weird thing where it's you have to make just one good movie and then worry about the other ones after that.
That's it.
But also, if you're going to make an interconnected universe, like the Star Wars trilogy had this problem, you have to
have a cohesive idea.
You have to have a plan for where it's going afterwards.
Yep.
But that's the beauty of what I'm talking about with the standalone nature of just make it one.
Tell one good story and then another one good story.
Yeah, just make Gotham by Gaslight, live action version, cast whoever as Batman.
If they had, I honestly, when it comes to comic book movies, if every movie they did was based on an already done comic book, I wouldn't even be that mad.
I think
it would maybe get a little tiring eventually, but
at this point, considering how bad DC's going, that's probably just their safest bet. And considering how good their animated stuff is, or most of it is, that they should, if they want to play it safe, that's how they should play it safe.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just you've already got a pre-written script. It's called a comic book, a standalone.
That's why Watchmen was pretty decent.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of you've already got the greatest story ever, so you just need to kind of visualize it and hope not to completely fuck it up. Which, I mean, they'll find a way to fuck. They will find a way to fuck up everything. But like we said, if you're going to change something, make it better.
Yeah.
Don't just change it because you think you're smart or because you think you can come up with something cool.
Yeah.
It's people love those things for a reason.
And people like seeing their favorite comic books on screen.
Yeah, I mean, especially
it doesn't have to be dull or boring. Yeah. You see an iconic, comic book moment on the screen, you're excited.
Well, yeah, we always talk about I hope they do Secret Wars next with MCU. They could be leading into that.
Avengers versus X-Men. Where is it?
It's Nathan's fucking thing. So it's just give us what we want.
I remember. Do you remember when Civil War was coming out? And my big complaint was it didn't look like it did in the comic books. I understand that, but
I actually
Civil War to me was you have the double page spread of 50 heroes on the other side. You
wanted the end of Endgame battle in Civil War.
Yeah.
But see, what I loved about the movie Civil War is that they took the idea of Cap versus Iron Man, and the division between the heroes, and they used it so well for their universe for their
because
it wouldn't make sense
that's right.
to do an adaptation of the real comic book Civil War in the MCU. That would just come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But see, DC has the ability to just make
that's right.
like a really weird standalone Justice League movie.
Like, can you imagine?
Don't have to lay the groundwork. Don't have to explain shit.
Exactly. Just fucking Darkseid's coming. Oh no, we've got fucking John Hammer's Superman. He's just going to play it this one time, but it's going to be awesome.
John Hammer's Batman.
Well,
Get it right.
He can play both. Oh wait, I was going to say, we were talking about
Nicolas Cage is Superman.
Oh fuck, Nicolas Cage is everyone.
Nicolas Cage is Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Fuck, everyone. Green Lantern.
Danny DeVito returns as the Penguin.
Oh, yeah.
No, but
The Penguin, we were talking about Callum in the movies. We were just like, why doesn't the Penguin just show up?
yeah, he's interested in money. Like,
Like he just went, Harley, what are you doing, Harley? And it's like, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Harley could make fun of him,
But I'm like, make a Superman movie, have them go on a journey to outer space or something interesting.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be so dark and broody.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be realistic at all. And
No,
like you can have the grounded, realistic one, but then because it's standalone, then you can do a crazy comic booky one.
Like, what's that? What's the group? It's like far in the in like far in the future, and it's like Superman has adventures with him and stuff.
Oh, I can't remember.
Yeah, but there's like a whole bunch of them. There's like really interesting intergalactic stuff going on.
This might have, maybe when Man of Steel came out, I was like, they should do like a period set Superman movie, like 1930s, 1940s. Like, it would have been so cool, like have that aesthetic, have that old school look to it, But then obviously you're not going to make a whole interconnected universe in the 30s,
No.
So it's like just make that one cool one, and then move on. And then you can make your modern one or whatever. Why can't we have ¿Por qué no los dos?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
it's such a limit.
I know they have finite resources, even though they,
Yeah, I know.
They kind of don't.
Yeah. It's just, what it is? It's how can you be in charge of like the comic book movie franchise like studio and have such limited creativity?
Because they're about all the business.
But that's what it comes down to.
They're about the business aspect.
Most of the DC movies are very stunted creatively.
Yeah.
Whereas you compare it to the Marvel movies where Kevin Feige's like, let's just go balls to the wall.
Yeah.
Like, Thanos and they went like,
But it took Kevin Feige like 20 years to get to this point.
No, that's true. But
this
is not the same.
Yeah.
The first Iron Man was so much more comic-y and creative than like fucking Justice League.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like they weren't afraid to embrace
like
the comic bookiness. And as the movies went on...
You know what? Even this is kind of like, this is pre-MCU, but you look at the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
Now, granted,
Fucking best.
Yeah.
Not 1 and 2, best movies.
Yeah, they're alright.
Fuck off. They're amazing. 3 is terrible. I will not defend 3.
1 and 2 are really good Spider-Mans. And they were made before this was like a trend.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what I'm pointing at. You look at these movies specifically.
Yeah.
They are, for their time, incredible pieces of superhero cinema.
Yeah. But like...
it's because it's so natural. It's so comic booky. It's like the essence of Spider-Man in that time.
So 2 things. One, did you hear that Sam Raimi is in talks to direct Doctor Strange?
I did hear
2?
that. I did hear that.
Hype.
More memes to come.
Yeah. But like you were saying, it's like Superman the movie, the 70s one, to me is still like the quintessential superhero movie because it just understands why Superman is so great. It has the spirit of the comic book of Superman, it embodies Superman so well. Even though it's a bit cheesy now and whatever, it's like that's the perfect, superhero movie. Then you got like Batman 1989. Yeah, Tim Burton's doing some weird shit, but it's some cool comic booky kind of, colorful, weird stuff. Then you've got like, the Spider-Man Raimi movies or the first few X-Men movies.
The Val Kilmer Batman.
I know, we'll skip those. But like, and then, even the X-Men movies where they changed the costumes to all like the black and people complaining, those movies are still really comic booky.
Yeah.
They still had really cool, like crazy ideas.
Yeah.
and that's why most of those people love. Like,
I think superhero movies have suffered because now everything has to be gritty.
Then the whole gritty reboot thing happened, and Zack Snyder ruined it for everyone and has destroyed DC to its core.
Yeah.
Like, they can't recover unless, like I said, they completely ignore everything.
I mean, let's take a look at a recent Marvel example. The best Thor movie is the one where they went full balls to the wall, 80s goodness.
Yeah.
In Thor Ragnarok. All the other movies are pretty garbage.
Because they played it so seriously in the first two movies, even though there was lots of cool comic booky shit in the first two Thor movies.
But they played it too straight, too serious, almost gritty.
They've sucked the fun out of a guy with a long hair and a giant hammer
and he can
around.
Control lightning with his fucking hair. Like, come on, he can control lightning. What's the problem here?
Yeah,
Give us an entertaining movie. It's heavy metal as fuck.
Yeah, it's like you can have a dark, serious character, but at the end of the day, he's a superhero. We want to see him do cool shit.
And it took Taika Waititi to come around and realize that the God of Lightning can be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is it, to quote the movie itself? What are you, the God of Hammers?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, because do you remember all the arguments?
Then in Infinity War, he kind of was because he needed the hammer back.
Yeah. Because I remember all the arguments about, he could do this power in this arc. I'm like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, I love comic books as much, probably more than the next guy, but who cares?
It's the same thing. Why is Shazam good? Because it's fun.
Yeah.
It has less of that grittiness.
Yeah, it's true to the character.
Just don't make these gritty movies anymore, please. We beg you.
Yeah, at the end of the movie, they introduced who was it? Dr. What's his name? The worm guy. I was like, that's fucking weird. That's awesome. I want to see all the movies.
But no, we're probably going to get Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson be a somewhat good guy.
We'll get Black Adam 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we'll get Shazam versus Black Adam.
And no one will win.
Yeah, Black Adam, and then Black Adam will technically win. In The Rock's contract, it'll say that he has to get more screen time than
he has to land more punches
Zachary Levi. Yeah.
It's Fast and Furious all over again.
Yeah. Oh god! See, I'm so worried about that. He's gonna ruin it. And see, that's the thing. He's perfect for Black Adam.
Yeah,
like visually, like he looks like a comic book character.
Yeah, he's also imposing too. I think he will pull off the physicality of the
role. If he's not going to play a bad guy, don't play the role.
But the character's more important than the actor. Like if he's not going to do it, if he's going to overshadow everyone else.
I think we were spitballing last night about we pretty much can take bets on what the exact plot's going to be.
Yeah.
It's going to be Black Adam accidentally commits genocide.
He's going to... I said I'm going to call it now. There's going to be the 7 deadly sins are unleashed on ancient Egypt, killing everyone, genociding, and he's going to be like, no, I didn't mean for this to happen.
It's going to be an accident or it's going to be a setup.
And then he's going to either be, frozen for the next 1,000 years, or he's going to be doomed to walk the earth for the next 1,000 years, regretting his decision until he sees like Shazam has come back. He's like, that's my power or some shit like that.
They're listening.
Send us a check if you're gonna steal.
But don't do that.
Yeah, but also
please don't do that. Send them. We'll take the money, but don't do that.
No, but that would be cool if he loses his powers and he's doomed to walk the earth. But he still has to be a bad guy.
He still has to be a bad guy. Yeah.
But because The Rock is playing, we talked about it. He's going to make him.
He's contractually obligated to always be somewhat of a good guy.
It's like what they do with Harley Quinn. It's like they were so afraid to make her a bad guy that she kept kind of skirting the edge.
My opinion of The Rock would go up substantially if he's just a really nasty dude in the movie.
Yeah, he should just be snapping necks constantly. Just be like killing guys every left, right, and center.
Because I want to see him be a bad guy in one movie.
Yeah, like I've always said, his best movie is Fast 5, and it's because he's the antagonist. He's not a bad guy because he's a law enforcement agent, but he's the antagonist. It's like fuck. He's so boring. He had the ability to be such the next greatest action star.
He could be the next Arnie, and he's like...
Yeah, he just makes shitty kids movies.
Like the Tooth Fairy.
Fuck off.
Was he in the Tooth Fairy?
No, that was wasn't that?
No, that was him.
Yeah, that was him.
Oh. Which one did? Which one was? What's his name in Vin Diesel in?
Oh, that was the Pacifier.
Pacifier.
Yeah. they should do the Tooth Fairy versus Pacifier. Hey, that's
nobody wins. The audience loses.
Yeah, that's an interconnected movie. They should make all the shitty, all the action movie actors who did shitty kids movies. They should play those characters. Did Jason Statham do any kids movies?
It wouldn't surprise me.
If he did one, they should have his character.
Eddie Murphy comes back as Daddy Daycare.
Arnie should be like maybe the dad from Jingle All the Way or the scientist from Junior.
But they're good movies.
No, they're good movies, but they're kids, like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Arnie's known for the action movies. They should do it interconnected, like, you know, universe.
That sounds shit.
Well, considering what we're getting, like, from legit...
It's the next logical step.
Yeah, but also it's like, you might as well go all the way. If you're going to waste our time with shit like Birds of Prey, you might as well have some fun with it and do some stupid shit.
That's true.
And they're making, like, Twins 2 or whatever, and it's triplets with fucking Eddie Murphy. It was like, fuck. And they're making, like, Coming to America 2 and shit like that. It's like, just fucking stop.
And then doing another Beverly Hills Cop.
Just fucking stop, please. Just no.
Yeah, why can't
They're on
Birds of
Netflix,
Prey...
right?
Like, Birds of Prey
Are
could
they?
be poorly written, but they couldn't have at least made it a little fun.
I know. At least, I know at least the next Beverly Hills Cop's on as a Netflix original.
Oh, yeah.
And they're making another. What is it? Mel Gibson cop.
Oh, Lethal Weapon.
They're making a Lethal
Oh,
Weapon.
fuck off.
Yeah.
Just stop, please. Hollywood, stop. You got all these comic
Stop ruining our things.
so you got all these comic books. Just pick one and adapt it.
And of course, Chris Rock's making a new Saw.
Yeah.
Might be interesting. I haven't seen the trailers, but apparently there's hype.
Yeah.
Back to superheroes.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Is there anything? What else do we talk about with Birds of Prey?
I'm exhausted.
Honestly, it's not.
It's not good.
It's not even worth talking about.
Don't
Like,
go
because
see it.
nothing happens in it.
It's
So
really
Harley
not-
Quinn sulks for the first 10 minutes.
It's really
Then
not
she
worth
gets
it.
kidnapped by Black Mask.
Save your money,
Then
kids.
then she finds Cassandra and then takes her to the funhouse, and then all the other characters show up. It's a waste of time. Nothing fun happens. Nothing cool happens. It all takes place during the day.
One thing
It's just really weird.
One thing that did interest me is John Krasinski is apparently keen to play Mr. Fantastic.
See, John Krasinski, have him come in for one role. You know,
I'd be
for
pretty
one
keen
time.
with him playing Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah.
No problems there. Like, we need a good Doctor Doom movie. Like, I know they technically
see,
had Doom
this is
in
the
the,
thing, is
the Fantastic
they keep-
Four movie that never happened.
Yeah, they keep fucking up Doctor Doom in the movies that never
They
happen.
overcomplicate him. He's just a really bad dude. Also, I mean, I think I want Doom, but I also want, what's his name? His descendant from the far future. Kong.
Yeah,
He's even cooler.
Yeah, no, they need to get Doom right first. I mean, but that's like, they should stop fucking around. Just have him in the suit of armor or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
And have him being a dictator of a small country and trying to take over the world.
You know what they need to do? In my opinion, at Marvel as well as DC.
Yeah.
Just pick up an 80s comic or a 90s comic and flick through it. Like, see, this is what superhero stories were like.
Yeah.
I know that now they're still good now.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like, if you want to...
have fun,
Like, you know, like...
But it's like I said, if DC has the ability to do both the serious, more modern, grounded comics and also the crazy balls to the wall, you know...
Frankly, if they brought out an animated movie over here, like, I don't know, like the next Justice League Dark movie or whatever, and we could go see it at our local cinema, I would absolutely pay ticket price.
But all those DC movies, even the best ones, are straight to video.
But I'd still love to go see one.
Yeah, but I mean, they could do like a Spider-Verse kind of thing, DC Spider-Verse.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
Yeah,
even if
Justice League Dark.
There's been problems.
Animated,
There's been problems with Doctor Strange, right? Recently.
Yeah, Scott Derrickson left.
Like, wouldn't it be interesting if they did like a Spider-Verse thing with Doctor Strange?
The animation style would suit Doctor Strange
Yeah,
perfectly.
I'm like, can you imagine like a cosmic trip?
That would be
like
cool.
that kind of weird animation.
Am I wrong in the troubles with Doctor Strange is because the studio didn't want it as horror as the director?
Yeah, because
Apparently.
Scott Derrickson, who's known for horror movies, he kept saying it's going to be a horror movie, it's going to be gothic horror, and then
which would have been amazing.
Yeah, and then apparently Kevin Feige was like a bit like, I don't want to alienate people, I don't want to, and then Scott Derrickson left over quote unquote creative differences, which is always the case, and people are like, it's probably because they didn't want to make it a horror movie.
Which on one hand I understand because it's so different, but on the other hand you have to take risks.
Yeah, but it's like we talk about, they keep playing it safe, all the movies start to feel samey, and it's kind of boring.
Because the thing about Doctor Strange is you can set it apart by he's the only, at the moment, pure psychological... Like, you can make it a psychological trauma trip. Like, somehow with his magic, he's stuck
it was
in
gonna
some
be, it was
mental...
going to be... We assumed it was going to be some sort of Cthulhu, you know, like he's going to... Like, because it's called in the
Nightmare dimension or something.
Yeah,
like
something like that.
in the madness... Was it in the...
Let me look it up, hold on.
Yeah, in the dimension of madness? What the fuck's it called?
Something like that. But he gets stuck, right?
Yeah.
Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Multiverse of Madness, yeah. So it's like just he gets fucking stuck in some weird cosmic crazy shit with some weird tentacle monster.
I'm down for
and
that.
yeah, and he can't get out, and that'll be cool.
Like, God, I want that so bad.
Yeah,
It's a
And he
shame it's
goes-
not going to happen.
Yeah, and he goes mad and like,
Whatever, this is kind of wildly off topic, but weren't they going to be making an H.P. Lovecraft adaptation that wasn't The Color Out of Space or whatever?
For what?
well, they've been trying.
TV show?
Guillermo del Toro's trying to
yeah.
made In the Mouth of Madness for like 20 years.
Was it the gentleman who did Get Out?
Oh yeah,
Jordan Peele?
Lovecraft Country or
He
something.
was gonna make.
or-
Wasn't that like a TV show? Or
Yeah,
something?
like what happened to
HBO
that?
or something? I don't know.
I don't know. But even if it comes out, we're talking about this. Jordan Peele's just been putting his name on a lot of TV shows.
Yeah, he's one of those guys.
And it's like, it doesn't really mean that it's going to be good.
We need more Lovecraft in our
Or
lives.
Lovecraft, yeah.
Less racism, but more horror.
He was a product of his time.
Yeah, he was.
I'm not defending it.
Not
No,
that, yeah.
I'm not defending it, but if you go back to that era, you look at most books. There's most likely in this sort of those sorts of novels.
definitely.
yeah,
Yeah,
more
definitely.
than, yeah.
But I mean, very creative, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's so influential, and also no one can ever, like,
Yeah, I think that's the
adapt
problem.
his
Yeah, that's the
shit to
problem,
live
right?
action.
It's like if it was popular to make, people would be making it.
yeah.
I mean, what's that movie? We watched it ages ago. And was it Sam Neill?
Oh, yeah, In the
John
Mouth
Carpenter.
of Madness, yeah. In the Mouth of Madness.
Yeah, that was a good one.
At the Mountains of Madness is the Lovecraft
the
one, and
Lovecraft
John
story.
Carpenter made In the Mouth of Madness, which is
Unrelated.
unrelated to H.P. Lovecraft, but inspired by H.P.
Like-
Lovecraft.
They couldn't release that at cinemas today. It's too weird.
Oh, not a main,
Too-
they don't make mainstream horror movies like that anymore.
I remember that movie's cheesy, but it's amazing.
Even like
another
we
level.
mentioned Seven before. They don't make movies like that
No,
anymore.
yeah, not
Like
even
a
like that.
mainstream. Could you imagine a mainstream, big budget Hollywood movie like that? No way. Oh, this is a much more interesting conversation than Birds of Prey. But I don't know if I'm sure there's other stuff we can mention about Birds of Prey, but it's not really worth mentioning. So I think we'll wrap it up. I can't remember. I think it's my time.
I think it is.
Sign off.
Yeah,
I can't
I really
remember.
don't care
I
about
did
Birds
last-
of Prey.
no,
It's-
I did last
we
time,
keep we keep losing track. Maybe we should record one outro and just play it at the end. I don't know. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. Ewan McGregor was good, but that's about it. Thanks for listening, everyone. Like and share the Tuesday Review Facebook page. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Tuesday Review AU. Follow me on Instagram at Channel Drifter, where I talk about all the movies. I post every time I watch a movie, so you can catch up with what I've been watching. You can find our previous episodes on any of your favorite podcasting apps. If you like video games, check out Callum, Jake, and Nathan's show Sunrise Arcade. And Matty J has his show, automotive discussion show, Car Talk. And you can find both of those wherever you listen. And yeah, make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the Tuesday Review on iTunes, because hopefully that'll get us more exposure. And find us some new cousins. That's it. Adios, cousins.